be a little louder. If you could all back up further. Oh.
Shall we get closer together, Mary?
We'll try.
All right. Can everybody hear me really well? No?
It echoes.
It echoes.
It's hard to hear. If she takes her mask off, I bet we should hear her just her own voice.
Okay, can everybody hear me a little bit better now?
Oh,
yeah. There we go. Okay. So welcome to the Cedarburg Art Museum. I am Samantha Mahalski, the director here. I am standing in for our curator, Jennifer Flairel. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it, so please bear with me. I'm going to give her speech in the best way I possibly can. So we are thrilled to have Mary Ulm Mayhew here with us tonight to talk about the work here in her exhibition called Mary Ulm Mayhew, My Personal Wisconsin. Before I introduce Mary, I'd like to thank the National Endowment for the Arts and the Wisconsin Arts Board, who help make exhibitions such as this possible. I'd also like to thank our volunteers who support the museum's activities, including installation. And of course, I would like to thank Jennifer for her wonderful work putting this exhibition together. For us at the Cedarburg Art Museum, it has been a pleasure getting to know Mary, both professionally and personally. Jennifer especially loved that often when she called her to chat about the exhibition, Mary would say something like, "Hang on, I've got paint on my hands." As you can see by a quick glance at the artwork around us, Mary is certainly prolific and passionate. Her gift extends beyond mastery of her medium to her ability to convey a nostalgic or emotional connection to her subject matter. Mary's work, above all, inspires us to take a closer look at the small moments and simple beauties around us. Mary's ability to capture the small moments from everyday life has allowed her to develop an impressive resume, including a long list of top honors and awards. She has exhibited extensively throughout Wisconsin, nationally and even internationally. Some highlights of her career include juror awards from plein air competitions far and near, from Arizona to Door County to our own Cedarburg. Her work has been included in and featured on the cover of several artist publications. And she is especially proud to have been juried into Birds in Art at the Yawk Lee Museum, which purchased one of her paintings for their permanent collection. Yes, it's very exciting. Mary also has great pride in her work teaching. It is always a pleasure to hear her express her love for watching the progress of her students' making, from beginners to accomplished artists. She has been known to say that her classes have given her great satisfaction, but best of all, they've given her best friends. Please join me in welcoming Mary Ulm Mayhew as she talks about a bit about the work here in her exhibition.
Thank you. All right, I've never had a microphone, so can I sing? Can you hear me? Am I on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Cedarburg Art Museum for having me here. It was a thrill, and they did a great job at hanging my paintings, which had to be challenging to get everything looking so good. So I thank them very much. And I also have to thank all my students who have supported me, who have come to see my art, and who have become my best friends. I have so many here that are former students and colleagues anyway. This exhibition, we decided My Personal Wisconsin because I have been plein air painting and studio painting in Wisconsin for a very long time. And I would like to just maybe explain a little bit about the daily painting series. Years ago, when we built a glass porch on the east side of our house that had views to the north, the east, and the south, and I didn't have a studio at the time, I set up my paints on the porch, and every day I decided I would do an 8x10 of the view from my porch. So the ones of the pond are all from the east side, and the ones of Newburg, which are the church and the buildings, they're all from the south side. And I did this every day, religiously, for 3 months. And even if I wasn't home, when I went to Chicago, I did a painting at the hotel there. So it was like exercising your art muscle, you know, and I progressed from doing 8x10s to doing 20x20s, and I had a show scheduled at the Miller in Sturgeon Bay, and it was going to be a month of Sundays. So every Sunday, I did a 20x20 of the view from the porch. Well, the Miller closed before the exhibit went up, so they were lovely, and they're I think they're all sold by now. So yeah. So if you look at this, you might want to look at the dates that are on here, and I know that most of these were done during 1 month of November, and I remember we had 3 blizzards during that month, so not now anymore. So now over here, I just want to go here. These are all really specific places in my life, and if you have questions, just shout out. This is on Highway Y, and I stop there and buy eggs like every week, and it's always so colorful, and so I stopped and did a plein air painting there. And this is a back sand road up near Eagle River, and my sister and I would do a lot of exploring and like get off the highway and take the sand road. So this is the sand road to a place called Cider Lake. So, and sometimes in the winter I'll sit in my car and I'll paint through the windshield, because I'm not as brave as some people who go out and paint in ice cold weather. Okay, I'm gonna have you. There's another really personal painting up here. This is painted up near High Pine Stables at Eagle River. And when I was a kid, I used to work there. And I bought a horse from them and brought it home to my parents' house in Milwaukee. They had an acre of land. And I said, well, I'll just keep the horse here, surprise. And my dad said, you cannot keep a horse in Milwaukee. So my son Kurt was a really young boy when I had Dolly, my horse, and she was so gentle. I put him on her back and she would just, so I had the horse, I boarded it someplace else, but High Pine Stables has a very special place in my heart. And the little farm, it is not exactly the way it was, but it was such a tidy farm, and it was up near Oostburg, and so I just drive up there a lot. And again, the Wolf Moon sleigh ride reminded me of the winters when actually we went ski joring up at High Pines. We would get behind the horses on skis, and they didn't run very fast. It was. And this is a larger painting from a place along, I think it's Pleasant Valley Road. There's a dairy there, and I stopped to paint a plein air painting and took some photos and did a larger one. And again, this is near my house on Highway Y. It's a beautiful little blue building in a field of yellow, which caught my eye, and I had the chickens. I've always had chickens, which are great models. No longer do we have them, but. And then I taught many years in Stevens Point, and we would go out on the road, and this is a Purina mill off Highway 10, I believe. Highway going into Stevens Point. Anyway, it was done as a large demo for my students. I usually do a large painting and let them get to it by themselves behind me, so it's a whole day of painting, and this was something I did then. And the cows, well, I think the man here in Cedarburg no longer has those white cows. No, going out of town. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't have cows anymore.
I know, and I loved every time I go by, those white cows were out, and I think I love painting white and light colored paintings. And this is again a cow on County Line Road, and when I went up plein air air painting. And, I'm trying to remember his name. Our friend who had the farm. Doesn't matter. There's a fellow that Charlie knew from River Edge, and he let us come up to his farm, and I photographed his cows really close up, and so that's.
You're talking about
Yes,
Jerry.
Jerry Berg, yeah. So that's one of Jerry Berg's cows. And the chicken and the pink chairs are at home, and our roosters and chickens really loved roosting on the metal chairs. So we had green, pink, and blue, and that was quite lovely. Sunflowers are just one of the flowers that I pick in the summer, and they become great subjects for me. So that's the story of this room. Oh, the canoe. Oh, sorry, I passed that one right up. The canoe was built by Ferdy Good. If anybody knows Ferdy, he is in Woodruff, Wisconsin. He builds handmade birch bark canoes, and I think he's probably on his 53rd one this year. They're made in the traditional manner, and this was his girlfriend's canoe. She no longer wanted to go out, so Charlie and I bought it, and we launched it at our lake, Pickerel Lake up in Eagle River. And when we did, Ferdy took this picture when Charlie and I kind of christened the canoe with you know who's paddling though, right? And I know nothing about paddling a canoe, but it's a wonderful, wonderful way to get out on the lake. And the other one, the self-portrait, I thought was real interesting. Charlie and I would go to France quite a bit. That's not Wisconsin, but I just thought me and food, it's pretty good combination. So that's the story of all the paintings, and if any of you have questions about my process, I mean, I'm not teaching a class, so I don't want to bore people with things like that, but if you have questions, I'm here to answer anything you might ask.
When did you teach in Stevens Point?
13 years ago was the last time, and I taught there, so I taught there for 6 summers. Yeah, it was arranged through the Marshfield, the gallery in Marshfield and Weisbrod, and she got the teachers from Stevens Point who needed the summer credits. We have to take a class or something.
Yeah.
And every year it would kind of be the same group of people, so again, they've become my good friends.
That's nice.
You know? Yeah.
It's a pretty area.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. And I think Wisconsin has just an untold wealth of visual treasures, and if it weren't for plein air painting, I probably wouldn't have explored as much as I have.
Well, you nailed it.
I
You
do.
get Wisconsin.
Yeah, I love it. I know there's so many greens. Everybody said there's too many greens, and then I look at these paintings and I think, well, he probably went out on the wrong day. I don't know. It is pretty colorful. And there are a couple of books.
Yes, just go her in the other room with the wine bar.
Oh, yay, okay. I brought some sketchbooks with me, which, my process usually is if I'm working at home from a photograph or an image, I'll do it in a small, just so on a page in a book, and they become studies, which kind of just stay in the book. Some are good, some are awful, but it's all a matter of strengthening your way that you're going to present what you're finally going to put on the canvas. So I have one small and 2 larger books if you want to just page through them. And then there's another book of linens and canvases that I've taken with me on travels. They haven't been framed. They again are studies, and if you look at them, you can kind of see my thinking and my process and my love of color.
So Mary, I have a question about, because your sunflower one looks a little different in style to me than some of the other ones. So
Yes.
was that, do you have many paintings in that style or just
No, I think I have 3 or 4, but I have a lovely critique group, and sometimes we say, well, let's try and do something a little more abstract, or something with less lines, something with more lines. So that was an exercise. It was a thing I didn't like a lot, and by putting strong lines and edges on it, it turned into something much better, and thanks to the critique group. Many of which are here tonight. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come to me if you have any questions, I'll be around. And thank you, Samantha, for taking Jennifer's.
I tried.
I'm thrilled to be